So I've had so many requests to take a closer look at this more budget friendly stove, and apparently it is so good I had to go out and buy one to see what all the fuss is about. And while we're at it, we'll do a bit of a comparison with its more expensive doppelganger, the SOTO WindMaster, which is almost twice the price. So this stove is the CampingMoon Micro Rocket Regulator Stove XD2F. Let's get it out of the box and have a closer look. Ooh. Comes in a nice Cordura style case. Stove is strapped in, held in with a little bit of a bungee on there, and there we have the burner head. Might be looking familiar to one or two of you. Separate pocket that houses the pot support, or the arms, which just fold out like this, and they're like spring loaded, and that clips on top of the burner head like that. So this is what we're looking at. So this is a micro regulated stove, which means that it's pressure regulated, so when your gas canister runs low or you get colder temperatures, it still should perform as it did with a full canister anyway. It's got a built-in piezo igniter. Let's get some gas on it. Not using that stove today, that's the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe. Very similar stove again. If you watch one of my other videos, you'll note that I don't like using gas canisters from a different brand. But getting hold of like a SOTO, or you're definitely not going to get a CampingMoon gas here in the UK anyway. Not messing around, let's get it fired up. Well, that's good. First click. Get it whacked up. Whoa! Bit of a beast. We're not going to be needing that to... You could fly into space with that, I think. Alright, so far so good. Now let's bring its doppelganger into the equation. So this is the SOTO WindMaster stove, and I've said for years now that pound for pound, this is the best stove you can get for when it comes to performance, efficiency, use in the wind, fuel consumption, all of those different things. And you can probably already notice it's a very similar sort of design. In fact, when you look at them side by side, the burner head, the pot supports, they look almost identical. The only difference is the ignition system. So the igniter on the SOTO is here, and then on the CampingMoon it's here. That one's got a plastic little button on it, and that one's metal. While I'm at it, I will just put some of the basic specs on the screen, side by side, SOTO WindMaster, CampingMoon, just so you can compare those. So I'm not going to go all scientific when it comes to comparing these. In the real world, things change all the time. You've got different temperatures, different starting temperature of your water, different amounts of wind. So unless you're in a lab and every second matters, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference anyway to everybody when they're out camping. What people really want to know is if this stove, which is about £30, £35, is comparable to the SOTO WindMaster, which is £65, £70, so half the price. So I'm going to get it fired up. I'll time both of them, just boil in some water just for a cuppa, and we'll see how they perform in the conditions that they are today. There's a very slight breeze, but nothing major. But you can see from the design of these is there's like a cup in there with loads of different jets for the fuel to come out, exactly the same as the SOTO WindMaster. And this little cup, it actually protects the stove from the wind. And also, you probably notice, you see the height there of the actual top of the burner head to the arms. That is really low, so it keeps the amount of airflow between the top of the burner and the pot really low. So that gives it less chance of the flame just like fluttering and blowing around. This one is exactly the same look. This is why these kind of stoves perform so well in windy conditions. Anyway, let's get some water in, get this fired up and get the timer going. I did say I wasn't going scientific. We're just going to go for enough for a brew, which for me is the first little lip on the mug. I think that's around 300 millilitres. Oh. Although we've spilt about 5 millilitres there. I'll try and replicate that on the next boil. So we'll get that on there, we'll get the lid on, get ready to start the stopwatch. Let's go. I'm not going to take the lid off, but wait till steam comes out the top, shall we? Can feel the heat coming out. There we go. Wow. 1 minute 3 seconds. Let's turn that off. Don't know if that's showing on there. There we go. Let this cool down a little bit. Tiny bit of cold water just to make sure that the pot's cooled down. I don't want to wait. Like I said, it's not mega scientific, but I can actually touch that now. I wonder if I can spill 5 mil again. Oh yeah. Who'd have thunk? Right, let's switch these over and see if the CampingMoon gives the OG a run for its money. Oh, by the way, so the SOTO's got like a little rubber seal on here. The CampingMoon doesn't have that, although it did seal nicely. But you'll see when I take the gas canister off for this one, there'll be a little bit of a popping sound. But it stops any leaks from around the top of the, I think it's called a Lindell valve. Alright. Round 2. Just reset that. Let's go. Very similar sort of flame pattern. Because there's such a small gap, you don't lose lots of flame to the surrounding areas of the pot. It is all focused on the bottom of it. Come on. There we go. One minute 34. That's actually slower, which I'm surprised about. However, the CampingMoon stove, according to the stats, has got a higher output in BTUs, so it should boil a little bit quicker. Same amount of water. Enough for a brew, which I am going to have this time. And then we might do a little bit of a roundup. A little bit of cold water because I am a softie. I brought with me some chocolate sprinkles. Running Rome and all that. Cheers. Still a bit hot. Right, so that has really surprised me, to be honest. I didn't expect this to boil quicker, although, it's not a huge amount, and this is probably about 4 years old now, something like that, this SOTO WindMaster. Oh, it didn't pop. I just unscrewed it. Normally there's a pop. Yeah, I've not weighed the gas or anything like that, so I don't know if this was more efficient or this was more efficient. Usually if you're burning more fuel up, it boils quicker, but it's a little bit less efficient. But then again, it's burning for less time, so swings and roundabouts. That's the first time I've used it, so I was impressed. I do like the igniter on this one. I prefer that to the SOTO one. So I'll start off with the elephant in the room. The SOTO WindMaster is the OG, the original when it comes to this design of stove. And this is obviously a cheaper Chinese knockoff. And I'm not a fan when it comes to Chinese companies just taking a design, blatantly ripping it off and copying it. However, I'm also not a huge fan of some of the more mainstream brands charging way more than they need to for a stove or for a piece of gear just because it's got the logo on it. I know they've put all of the R&D and the development and the design work and stuff like that, and you have to pay for that. This is Japanese stove, by the way, and Japan tends to lead the way when it comes to quality control. I'm not sure what the warranty is like on this because I've not had to claim on it. It does look like, I've had it 4 years, something like that. It's easily going to last another 4 or 5 years. If anything does break, it will be the piezo igniter, but that's what goes on most stoves, so it'll probably go on this one just the same at some point. But when I look at them side by side, there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of difference in them when it comes to quality. I don't know what the materials are made of. This one, when you give it a bit of a shake, it rattles. There's play in these arms and stuff like that. Same amount of play in the CampingMoon stove. I haven't brought the bag with me for this one. That's at home somewhere, but this little case is better than the SOTO case. I don't know if I will use it. Well, I probably will use it because it's nice. When I'm storing this stove, the SOTO, you tend to try and put it in your pot and you store it like this. So you fold it round the stove and that puts it into its most compact form, so you can get it in with a gas canister and things like that. This one I'll probably just keep it in the bag and then just not put it in the pot. It gives me more room in here to put some coffees and a few other bits and bobs, maybe a dehydrated meal. You can just store it like that as well, already set up. Both stoves, by the way. But again, it tends not to fit in these smaller pots, so if you've got a bigger pot, win-win. So that's a good thing about both of these. So these, for the SOTO, you can get a lighter weight 3-pronged pot support, which is good for little pots like this, but these are brilliant. You can put a frying pan on these. Bigger pots, they are quite sturdy, and both of these have got decent simmer control as well. I've not actually tried this cooking with, but they're very similar stoves, and like I said, it's pressure rate. Let's get it up again, just see what the valve is like, see if we can get a nice small flame. I know I can get it on the SOTO because I've done it time and time again. Right. So we know we can get a massive flame. Yeah, you can drop it down really low as well. Just looking at it on this bench, pretty much identical. Yeah, as far as carbon copies and doppelgangers go, CampingMoon have done a pretty good job, and there's loads of other people that have said the same thing, to be honest. I'm a little bit late to the party, and it's just because so many people have asked me to look at it. As I said, I do appreciate that sometimes whoever designs it first, I tend to have a little bit more loyalty towards, because I think it's a really good bit of kit, and I'll still recommend this. But if you're on a budget, I find it difficult to recommend £70 when you can get pretty much the same thing for half the price. So yeah, I'm gonna give the CampingMoon micro rocket a big thumbs up. I like it. Well done, CampingMoon. Obviously it's the first time I've set fire to it, lit it up, so I can't comment on its longevity and stuff like that, but just looking at it, there looks to be very little to go wrong. It looks no different to this, so I'll leave it up to you to decide. If you're in the market for either one of these stoves, this is tried and tested, proven longevity, proven efficiency, all of that. Let me know if you've got the CampingMoon stove in the comments below, how long you've had it, is it holding up? Let everybody else know as well. I will put links in the description to both of them. I'm not saying you buy either of them, because there are other stoves available, but they're there if you want to have a look at them closer. But that is it for this one. Thank you for watching. I shall see you next time.